Everybody would stand. We're going to have Councilman Spencer give an invocation, and then we'll do the pledge of allegiance. Councilman?
Let us pray. Father God, I ask for your continued blessings for our community. Give us guidance for our decisions tonight. I pray for the healing of our 2 Callaway County deputies who were injured last week while performing their duties. It brings to view as to the dangers of our law enforcement, what they face every day in our community and across the nation. So please continue to watch over Israel and to bring those that wish her destruction to justice. Continue to be with our nation and protect us from evil here and abroad. Be with our servicemen and women who protect our nation here and abroad. And be with our staff as they serve the public. And I ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome. Go ahead and call the meeting to order and do a roll call.
Callers.
Here.
Templeton.
Here.
Joe. Here. Lester. Here. Michael.
Here.
Neely. Schwartz.
Here.
Spencer.
Here.
Spicer.
Present.
Young.
Present.
All right. Item 3, adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, miscellaneous items. We do not have any opportunity for public comments. No one has signed up. We'll go to item 6, public hearings. Pending Bill 2024-044. I'll ask the clerk to go ahead and read that.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, amending Chapter 35 of the Zoning Code and Chapter 33 of the Subdivision Code.
Mr. Smith.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So what we have in front of you tonight for the public hearing is a set of text amendments. I kind of went through those in a little more detail at the last meeting, so I'll kind of briefly go through those. But just some background, they did go through the Planning and Zoning Commission. They did spend several meetings kind of reviewing these. Kind of the impetus for this was really evaluating opportunities for kind of removing some obstacles or some hurdles for housing and some in the community. The text amendments that staff is recommending tonight would remove requirements for open space and building separation for multifamily, reduce flag lot poles from 35 feet to 30 feet, remove 10-foot separation requirement for accessory structures, increase the allotment for workshops for large properties, allow conversion of buildings that were built for single family that are now commercial zoning to be used for single family purposes, reduction in parking for multifamily, and also to allow for multifamily residential structures to have individual units on their own lot, kind of in a town home configuration. So right now they're limited to 2. This would expand it to 6. I'd be happy to answer any questions as well on any of those text amendments. But like I said, we did provide some more information during that first meeting, and there's information in the packet. So with that, we can hold the public hearing and answer any questions for that.
Okay, well, the public hearing is open. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of 2024-44? Anybody to speak in opposition? No further witnesses. We'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Council now has before you resolution 2024-44, Bill 2024-44. Any comments from council? All right. Go ahead and do a roll call vote.
Callers.
Aye.
Templeton.
Aye.
Joe.
Aye.
Lester.
Aye.
Michael.
Aye.
Neely.
Aye.
Schwartz.
Aye.
Spencer.
Aye.
Spicer. Young.
Aye.
Bill passes.
All right, presentations from staff consultants and invited guests. Item 8. 8A is Dr. Bates from State Fair Community College. Welcome. You just repeat your name when you get up there for the folks at home, and appreciate having you with us tonight.
Thank you, Mr.
You have
Mayor.
a colleague with you over here.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. My name is Brent Bates. I'm president of State Fair Community College. Members of the council, thank you very much for having me here today. I'll keep my comments very brief. My message today is very simple. We're your community college. State Fair Community College serves a 14-county region in central Missouri. Cole County is one of the counties in our service region. The state of Missouri is divided up, so all the counties have a service region for our community college. We're privileged to serve Cole County and Jefferson City. We've had a site here previously in our history. Most recently, though, we opened a new site, State Fair Community College, Jefferson City. Its physical location is at Lincoln University. And so we believe the best way to serve the community, we can serve the community best if we have boots on the ground. And so one of our first steps was hire some boots. And we hired Dr. Trika Young to direct our Jefferson City site. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we hired you before you were elected to the council, maybe the same day or very close after.
Interviewed the day before the election.
So, and we plan to hire additional staff as we serve the community. So as I said, we're your community college. And so we serve at your pleasure. We our kind of way we operate is we listen to our community needs and we figure out ways that we can help the community meet those needs. And so I've been out in the community recently since we started the new site here, listening to community members and brainstorming for ideas the way we can serve. And certainly Dr. Young is doing the same thing. So as you contemplate how you serve Jefferson City, we serve Jefferson City as well. And if there's a way we can help you serve the city, please let us know. And we're privileged to work on that community needs. When you think about a community college, it's just not about kind of traditional transfer credit programming, though that's a part of what we do at SFCC Jefferson City. We have programs primarily right now to transfer students into four-year degree programs, the AA degree. But we are soon going to be adding technical programming. There's some low-hanging fruit like medical assisting. It's a technical program to train medical assistants that we would like to add here. And we're looking for other technical programs to add. The other part we do is workforce development, workforce training. We've done customized training here in Jefferson City for years. We're quite active, and there's some numbers on the handout I gave. But since 2012, we worked with DeLong, Scholastic, and Unilever, and I think some others in some customized training. I've recently had meetings with for the three of the largest industries here in town, and looking for opportunities to expand that training opportunity and maintain a supply of a trained workforce for our industry partners. So our other strategy is to partner with community entities to be more efficient. So we're working very closely with the school district, with Nichols, on those training opportunities so we can best use community resources without increasing taxes or anything like that. So that's kind of our strategy. The key part is listening to the community, so please think of us when you have community issues that we can be a part of, and let us know. Dr. Young is our boots on the ground. Certainly contact her. You can contact me directly, and we're looking forward to growing our partnership with Jefferson City.
Well,
Mr. Mayor?
we're so proud of our hometown university. I know this partnership just strengthens both State Fair and Lincoln. We had an opportunity to go to ribbon cutting recently, so anyone that did not, I think Dr. Young invited others to come over and tour the facility if you couldn't make it that day. Any comments you'd like to make?
I just want to let everyone know, as Dr. Bates has already mentioned, I am your person here in Jefferson City. You know anyone who has that A+ program, want to utilize it here in Jefferson City, please contact me. I would love to get them enrolled. The best way to do it is to go on our website to statefairmo.edu, pick the Jefferson City campus, and enroll in classes.
I should have said tennis shoes on the ground for Dr. Young because she's moving all the time. Boots probably wasn't a good analogy.
Thank you for being with us, and we look forward to continued success.
Thank you very much.
Okay, just one comment.
Councilman Mills?
Mr. Mayor. I thought it was pretty neat here that slightly over 50% of your students served are first generation. I mean, that's a big deal
Yes.
in a rural area. So congrats on that piece.
Thank you very much. Sure, that's an important part of what we do as a community, is provide access to higher education. The state has a goal of 60% of the population having a credential beyond a high school diploma. That's so important. 75% of the jobs by 2030 are going to need some kind of training besides a high school diploma. So that access, not everybody can move away or, go off to college or get training somewhere else. Our strategy is offered here, that access. So thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
All right. That takes us to item 8D, Lower Missouri Spinoff Study. Mr. Weber.
Tee it up real quick.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So obviously Chris Weberg here is Missouri Department of Natural Resources, but he's got a whole slew of folks here with him that he can introduce from the Corps of Engineers and the DNR. But basically going to give a quick update on the We'll have this in your packet. We can send it back out to everyone. But they're just kind of going to go through the background here and get us to the tentatively selected plan for the levy. Some of you have been in the meeting, some of you haven't, but it's a pretty important topic to the community. And so why is it important? Basically, the state has got it to a point where they need to find a local sponsor now for the study. And so that's where the city council chooses to do so. That's what, right now it's looking like that would be the most logical sponsor here is the city council. So that's why it's an important topic. We're going to talk about it again at our Public Works and Planning Committee meeting in November. And there's some documentation that the city put together to become the non-local sponsor.
Appreciate that, Matt. Appreciate that.
Welcome. You just identify yourself. Again, I know you have a lot of friends with you. I see Dr. Button back there, so.
Yeah, thank you.
The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. Chris Weberg. I work for the Missouri Geological Survey, which is housed within the Missouri Department of Natural Resources. My job primarily is to advocate for water resource projects in the state, as well as soil and water conservation, dam and reservoir safety for the division. Today I brought a couple of experts that are working on our lower Missouri River spinoff studies, one of which is in Jefferson City, but we have a whole host of work going on the lower Missouri to evaluate the system, to reduce the risk from flooding, as well as build resiliency in places where we see repetitive loss from flooding. As you all are well aware, Jefferson City has been challenged over the years with flooding. 1993, 2019, a whole host of floods have led us to this point, and it's really the same all the way up and down the lower Missouri as you look at the communities along the river. And so our spinoff study in Jefferson City has been focused on kind of the area where Capital View levy currently protects. And we've been evaluating alternatives, and we're to the point where we're sharing those alternatives with folks. And as Matt said, looking to move into the next phases of the project, which include deciding and gathering up construction sponsors. So I'm going to let Aaron Fanning, our Water Resource Director, give a presentation on our role as a non-federal sponsor for the cost share study, and then Colleen Roberts from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, who are primary project manager on our lower Missouri work, will also be presenting some more details about the actual Jeff City study. So with that, Aaron Fanning.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. All right, so my name is Erin Fanning. I'm the program director for the Water Resources Center, and I really appreciate the opportunity to present here tonight to all of you. Hopefully this is the right button. Yes. So just a quick overview of what we plan to talk about. I'm going to go through the first few slides, and then I'm going to hand it over to the court to go through the meat of it. But DNR has learned a lot as we've gone through the feasibility study process. As we've been striving to do things differently, we really wanted to understand the framework that we're working within to figure out what what we're here to do and what we'd like to change on that. So as Chris stated, where we started out post-2019 flooding is to bring together the Flood Recovery Advisory Working Group, or the FROG, to make recommendations on how we can move forward. And a big part of that was figuring out how we could do things differently. In these repetitive flood loss communities, a lot of times we're getting out there, we're building back the same things, and then we're seeing the same results over and over again. So we wanted to see if we could change that to start winning the game. And through that, there's been a partnership with the Corps for the system plan, which is a coming together, a partnership of the Army Corps of Engineers and 4 states, Nebraska, Iowa, Kansas, and Missouri. And we're working on this lower 735 miles river to create a roadmap so that we can look at the river as an entire system and not have piecemealed solutions along the way. And then Missouri has been able to be a leader in the spinoff studies. We have 3 currently underway, 1 in Jeff City, 1 in Brunswick, and 1 in Holt County. And we're just kicking off another one in Nemaha-Atchison County with the Corps and Nebraska as partners. And those are stepping ahead of the system plan and going to areas where we know that we have repetitive flood loss issues and trying to see if there's anything we can do to get ahead of the game in those communities. So today we're going to talk about spinoff studies overall and what that process means. So DNR serving as the non-federal sponsor is one of the things that we're trying to do things differently. A lot of times in these repetitive flood loss communities, in order to pursue a feasibility study, it starts out at a $3 million project, 3 by 3 by 3 study, which is $3 million, 3 years, and 3 levels of Army Corps review and approval. And so with a 50-50 non-federal federal partnership, that requires somebody to come up with $1.5 million just to get in the door. And so the state of Missouri has said, what if we can try to step in and allow a study to take place? And that's the first step. We have a couple of goals as we pursued these feasibility studies in the spinoff communities that we've been working in. One is to allow the space in that community, like Jeff City, to explore the art of the possible. If there was opportunity with federal interest and federal funds, what could happen in Jeff City to try to bring resiliency to this area? And the second is transparency in the process, to allow community members to follow along with the project and to be an active part of it along the way. There's a couple other aspects that we've been talking quite a bit about. The first is that we are committed to trying to find a solution that everybody can live with in the community. We're seeking consensus, or at least informed consent, that everybody can try to come together and figure out a way to move forward on a project. Secondly, DNR did not come into this project with a predisposed solution. We didn't come into it knowing that the answer at the end of the study would be this or that. We were agnostic. In fact, in the signing ceremony, that's one of the things that we spoke to. Our goal is to provide the space for this community to decide, and we are trying to provide the funding to do that. So those are a couple of the key points that we've been hitting on. As we studied the feasibility study process to just really understand the framework, there's a couple things that stood out that are fundamental to it. The first end goal of a feasibility study process is to determine what has federal interest, which is where the benefits that would be brought by a project will outweigh the cost to implement that project. It has a federal interest. And with that, you can open up the possibility of, I think, at least 65% federal funds to contribute to the implementation of that project in the future. So knowing whether or not a alternative has federal interest is one of the major tasks to come out of a feasibility study. But another part of it is to work together to resolve conflicting interest, which you see on the last line of the slide. And that's been a part that DNR has been quite committed to trying to play, is to understand the different perspectives within this community as well as the other spinoff study communities, and see how we can come together. And so, as many of you are aware, we've had many many conversations over the past weeks and months to listen to perspectives on the alternatives that are in play and to see if we can work with the Corps to iterate on those alternatives, to tweak and modify in a way that still maintains federal interest, but allows us to get closer and closer to that, that solution that the community can live with. So one other aspect that Chris, I think, alluded to that I wanted to highlight here is there's at least 3 different steps to bring an idea from a study to the implementation of a project. We are currently in the highlighted blue feasibility cost sharing agreement stage, and that is what DNR is currently serving as the non-federal sponsor for. We're a non-federal sponsor for this study. And in the future, if an alternative were to be recommended here and move forward, there's going to need to be an implementation partner for construction. And so you can see there's a design agreement and a project partnership agreement. That in itself has caused us a few challenges along the way as we try to identify where would we get borrow. Those are questions that in a typical feasibility study process, your feasibility study non-federal partner is generally the same as your implementation partner. But as Missouri is trying to do things differently, DNR is that feasibility study partner, and we're looking to identify who that future construction partner may be in each of these communities. And lastly, just at a glance, you can see that the cost of the study is a total of, we said it started at $3 million. It's actually increased in each of these communities. So the total cost to bring the study to conclusion is $4.2 million, of which the non-federal cost share is $2 million, and that is what Missouri DNR is currently signed up to provide. The timeline, which the Corps is going to get more into, but there's going to be a report that comes out in November. There will be a formal comment period, and it's at that time where we'd love to get everybody's formal feedback on the study. And if you look at the bottom of the slide, I kind of bring all of the study down to my level, which is there's a great deal, there's literally millions of dollars of work that's been done. But a lot of it falls into a few general categories. And in Jeff City, there's a no action alternative, not do anything and move forward. Reinforce the existing levee, raise the existing levee. Non-structural alternatives, which are things like flood-proofing, buyouts, and that sort of thing. And then a structural alternative, which is what there's been a lot of discussion about, a levee setback that provides a 100-year level of protection. And the reason I have 3 of those crossed out is through the Corps' analyses, they have determined that the only option that has federal interest on a project that can move forward is the structural alternative of a levee setback. So that's basically the point in time we're at, is to determine can we move forward with continuing the study to fully flesh out that idea. That's an idea that has federal interest, and that's what we've largely been working on over the past few weeks and months to discuss with the community members is what can we do to make that a palatable option for as many in the Jeff City community as we can. So that, I'll hand it over to Colleen.
Good evening. I'm Colleen Roberts. I'm the Senior Program Manager for all of the Lower Missouri River studies that we're doing, focusing on Jefferson City today. Really appreciate Missouri DNR stepping up for all of these spinoff studies to help these local communities get started, and I appreciate all of you guys listening today to be a potential implementation partner. So I'll go through a little bit of background. Again, touching on, we know there were floods in 93, 95, 2019, years in between that. Typically, these flood durations last months. The total value in the floodplain behind the current Capitol View levee is about $583 million, consists of major employees, both with local and regional importance. We have MFA, we have National Guard, Hitachi, which has around 1,200 employers. And I know interest in expanding. Capital Sand is a big regional and local producer. The airport, everybody knows what's behind there, but just emphasizing it again. There's about $19.3 million of expected annual flood damages if no action is taken. So that's one thing that the Corps looks at for when we are doing our benefit cost analysis that Aaron had touched on a little bit. All right, busy slide. There's a lot kind of going on here, but this just shows our timeline. We began doing just our scoping phase, working with our partner, working with the public, figuring out with MDNR what our scope, schedule, and budget was going to look like. From there, we went and gathered all of our data, ran all of our models, figured out all of the different alternatives that we could do, and then we determined what had federal interest, which is what we're going to talk about today. That's called our tentatively selected plan. We've presented that. Currently, we are presenting 2 plans, which is not typical for the Corps. We typically have 1, but without having consensus from the sponsor, we have to move forward with a no action alternative, which is doing nothing, or we have the option so that the public is able to comment on it for doing our setback levy, which I'm going to cover a little bit there. So we'll go out with that draft report, hoping to target November 15th for that. We're allowing a 60-day public comment period since there's the holidays and all of that around there to give people adequate time to read it. It's a robust report with lots of appendices if anyone wants to look through it, which I do encourage you to do that. And then that will close the public comment period around January 15th. And then that February 15th is the big date of if we don't have a sponsor to implement it, we're going to have to terminate the study. We really want to get to the end. After that, we would refine the design and then go up to Washington level review. And then we have on there the chief's report is the last thing. So that's where it is signed by the chief of engineers for the Army Corps, and it is submitted up to Congress for future authorization. We really want to get to that chief's report. If we get to the chief's report, it can go on a shelf. It's not what we like to do, but it can. And then if funding comes up, sometimes through like disaster relief bills, they also fund stuff outside of maybe like a hurricane area, they'll fund some other projects. And if something's on the shelf, you can easily pull it. If we terminate it now, we have to start completely over again. And this is the second time that we have been here doing a study. So we really want to get to that chief's report. So currently, the capital view levy that's there, I just wanted to touch on, it's a 1 in 6 year levy. What we like to say that it's not that once every 6 years it's going to flood. It's we have a 17% chance every single year of it being flooded. A 1 in 6 year levy is not very tall. We definitely want to get higher than that to help prevent some of the repetitive damage. So just want to touch, that's the no action. Again, that's currently our default plan since we don't have an implementation partner. And this is the alignment that we are proposing that has federal interest. So the pink line there is the setback levy. It would be the L142 levy. It provides a 100-year level of protection, so it's a 1% every year of flooding, which is much better. That's more typical of what we would see in an area with businesses of around a 100-year level of protection. Hard to see on the map there, but on the west side, we have the current capital view levy. The Corps that needs to be removed. Part of that is because of Turkey Creek to allow some conveyance through that area. The Corps' recommendation is that the south side also be removed to help allow for some conveyance, and I have some visuals here I'm going to go through. But because we know some local community input has been to leave that in place, the Corps will allow the community to do what they think is best with that portion of the levy. Again, I'll talk through some of that, but definitely on the west side, with all of the Turkey Creek, we want to be able to open up some of that. That's a common point where the levee fails, is right there in Turkey Creek. And then the pink, like I said, is the 100-year level of protection. There's about 2,100 acres protected there. All right, so this is the cost I have on here. We have to look at a non-structural solution, so those are up there in the slides just for reference. So the total cost is around $310 million. I'm going to go through a little breakout of that as well. And it has net annual benefits of $2.9 million, so that's good. It means it has the positive annual benefits. That's what we want to see to have federal interest. So cost breakout, this is about a 5% level of design. So we are very early on in the process. We were talking like when you're building a house, you're just kind of starting now to maybe figure out how many bedrooms and baths you want, maybe haven't nailed down that alignment completely. Once we get through the feasibility study design, we'll go into preliminary engineering and design. That's about, we'll get to a 35%, 65%, 95%, so much more refined. So we have a significant portion is contingency because it's so early on, there's so many unknowns. So it's about 47% of that 310 million is contingency that will continue to refine as we move on. Real estate is somewhat high. There is relocations. There's a lot of utilities in the area, which makes sense because there's a lot of businesses. There's water lines, there's fiber, there's all sorts of things in there, but we also don't have all of the information. We weren't able to obtain details from, say, Ameren, so a lot of unknowns we have to account for. And then the construction cost is kind of that big area there. It's around $100 million of that 310 is the actual construction, and then we have to account for design and construction management, which is the engineering and the oversight during the actual design and construction. Just a little breakout for how that falls. And when we go into the construction phase, the cost share there is 65% federal, 35% non-federal. That's where it starts. There have been examples where it has been even less than that, like Kansas City Levees is a big project going on right now. Their first contract was 65-35. Their big contract was actually 100% federal, and then they have their last contract is 90% federal, 10% non-federal. So there is potential for that to be less, but starting is 65-35. This just is to show the difference between a non-federal or private levy, which is what it is currently, which is that blue triangle up there right now, or the way that we will build a federal levy to federal standards. It's much more robust. We do not want our levees to fail. We want them to design all the way up to the, or perform all the way up to the top of the levee. We don't want to have under seepage, so where the water can seep underneath and come to the other side. So we have easements. Those can be farmable easements, and then we have some permanent easements in the area, as well as we may put part of the road on the shoulder. We have some things we can refine with that, and then just a much more robust levee fill there. So when people ask why is it so expensive, I can just pile some dirt up. That's a big reason behind it. All right, these slides are really busy, and I have a lot of them. They're going to be in the final report. It'll be in a big appendix, but we get questions all the time about impacts to Weirs Creek. I know that was a lot of questions and somewhat what led to termination the last time, so I just wanted to include it so I can at least talk you through it, and then when you have the actual papers, you can look at it in a little bit more detail. This is a 10% or a 1 in 10 year flood. So that is 32.6 feet stage, which for reference, 2019 was 33 foot. So 2019 was about a 10-year flood event. And at this point, that area that's in the blue and the red, they're inundated by about 5 to 10 feet of water. So about as, say up as tall as I am. We just give this for reference because there's a 3-inch increase in an area where that red is, which 3 feet on top of 5 to 10 feet. I mean, we'll still account for it. We still will go through our analysis, but it's not a very significant area. This one in particular is when we've removed all of Capitol View, so you guys can see the difference there. At Weirs Creek, there is no change to a 1/2 inch decrease at the mouth of Weirs Creek. So removing Capitol View has some benefits with the water surface elevation there at Weirs Creek. Again, 10-year, we want to show these frequent events because this is what you guys see them more of, is these like 10-year events. And again, that was like 2019. So if Capitol View stays in place, it's about a 2-inch increase. Again, that could be within modeling error. It's not going to be significant and have all the numbers on there. 4% or about a 1 in 25 year flood event. Again, still kind of frequent. If you remove Capitol View, there is again a decrease at the mouth of Weirs Creek. If you remove Capitol View, it's already inundated. I don't think I have it on this one, but it's more than 10 feet inundated. About 1 to 5 decrease downstream for this one, and about a 9-inch increase there at Turkey Creek from backwater. There it is. It's inundated about 8 to 10 feet at that point. And then again, difference if you leave that Capitol View in place there on the south side, it's about a 5-inch increase there at Weir's Creek. And then I have another graphic. It's not going to be 5 inches all the way up to the very top of Weir's Creek. It's going to essentially level out the further upstream you go. And again, there's a slide for it. It's just hard to see. And then this is the 100 years, so the more frequent event. This is what the levee is built to. If you remove Capitol View, there is still a slight increase of water surface elevation at Weir's Creek. Again, it's about 10 inches. That's at a 38-foot stage, and road closures start there about a 26-foot stage. So it's already pretty darn inundated at that point. By the time we start to see a little bit of an increase, and like I said, it's about 10 inches there. And then with Capitol View in place, it's about 12 inches, so slightly greater there. And then this has, again, like I said, it's busy, but I wanted to just go through it a little bit so you guys can look at it and be able to digest it when you have the papers in front of you. This shows the inundation there in Weir's Creek. Road closures, like I said, start to begin at 26 feet. That difference is not going to change anything with the flood action plan. It would still be the same as what it is now. Everything will be closed as it is. And then I just have on the reference there on the left, if you're curious, the different stages at different flood actions, the different, if it's a 5-year, a 10-year, 100-year flood event, and the new top of levee elevation. All right, so this is the graph, really hard to see from where you guys are at, but that Capital City Ford is where everything kind of converges. You don't see any impacts further upstream from that. If you were at our last public meeting, we were talking about how we hadn't modeled it yet. We did get a model of Weir's Creek. We were able to run these new flows through there, so we were able to illustrate kind of how it all converges. Again, it's not going to be 12 inches all the way up the creek. That's just at the mouth, and then you can see as you go upstream, it kind of all converges together. So I don't want to dwell on the Weir's Creek stuff, but I do know it's really important to the community. So we wanted to have as much information as possible with that and be as transparent as possible with the impacts. And again, just show the difference of leaving Capitol View in place or removal. Again, our recommendation is going to be to remove it. You're leaving some benefits on the table if you're not, but we do understand the local community's desire to maybe leave that in place. Okay, and then this is just what we presented at our tentatively selected plan. So we are currently, the no action is, I don't know, saying the sponsor's preferred plan is maybe not, it's just where we're at right now without having an implementation partner. And with community support or with a sponsor, we would recommend that alternative 13. It has positive net benefits. It has impacts to the regional community. It benefits the Justice 40 community. It's a really good project, 100-year level protection for businesses like that. So that would be the recommended plan. So next steps, like I said, the report will be released November 15th, comment period open until January 15th, and that February 15th is kind of our drop dead date for needing to have an implementation sponsor moving forward. I think that's all I have. I'll leave that up there so you guys can look at it.
Thanks, Colleen. Just to kind of wrap up, we appreciate the council and the staff having us here today to kind of talk through where we're at with some things. It's really hard to condense 18 months of very hard study into a 30-minute go round with regard to this, but we tried to be crisp and brief for your time. We stand ready to answer any questions. A little bit also, the team on the city side will provide you with this PowerPoint presentation plus a placemat, which is basically a one-pager that has most, if not all, of this information kind of on it so that you can one-stop shop, read, and if you have questions, we're happy to meet again or talk through any of those things. We're at your service. Yeah, thank you.
Great. Any questions at this point? All right. Thank you very much. It takes us to item 9A, announcements by mayor, council, and staff.
Mr. Mayor.
I'm sorry. Jumping right over you there. MSP River Market, Ms. Senzing, I think you were going to bring Ms. Mr. Griffgraff up with you?
Sure.
I apologize.
Good evening, Rachel Senzi, Neighborhood Services Supervisor. We've been, Bartlett and West could not be here this evening, so it's just me and Director Griffrath. But I wanted to give you an update on the river market and the progress and the path moving forward. We did host a open house at the River Market last Tuesday, and we had about 55 plus people show up, members of the community, stakeholders, people from other communities, as well as some of our press. And the purpose of that was to really gauge that community feedback that we're going to need in the design process for Bartlett and West. So they shared the slides, and I'll go ahead and walk through some of the renderings for you. So they have changed the conceptual design of the site just a little bit based off of some of the land survey progress that they have completed. They're getting ready to do geotech at the site, so that way we know if it's possible to go ahead and put some of the structures that we have there. On the current screen, you'll see the build out of Chestnut Street with the cul-de-sac at the end, and then access to the river market. And so you can see just to give you the lay of the land, you can see the train tracks and the river just on the other side of that. So we're really focusing on the river market pavilion itself, having nice restroom facilities, as well as kind of the U drive for the food truck plaza, as well as parking. And this is just another site connection. You'll see, so this is going to be the northeast corner of the site where Chestnut Street is. You see that cul-de-sac, and you can see the trail connectivity winding, that will wind up the hill from there. Again, another view. The gray boxy area on the other side is the site location for the state of Missouri's One Health Lab. So that project is supposed to be completed in 2026. So we're really trying to work with the state of Missouri on the Chestnut Street build out, as well as the river market facility. But somewhat the order of operations that we're pursuing is river market first. We have that looming deadline of July 2025. We have to start construction. Otherwise, the state can exercise the right of reentry, and we would lose the property. Obviously, priority number 2 is Chestnut Street. The timeline on that, we are really kind of beholden to the One Health Lab development on when that can occur. One of the other things that we've been talking about on a staff level with Bartlett and West is we want to make sure that we really design this layout in the most flexible way as possible. If we need to do future expansion of the river market facility, we're able to do that. If private development wants to come to the table in the future phases, we're able to do that as well. But just to make sure that we're planning for expansion or just using the space as efficiently as possible. This is the current rendering. So one of the challenges that was a little bit different than what we originally showed you is during their survey work, they found at least a century-old stormwater tunnel that's kind of outlined in that light blue area that kind of runs right under where we originally were going to have the river market site, and we want to make sure that we're not building on top of that, but also utilizing it as an access for stormwater. This again is more of the expansion potential that we're looking at. So that starting point is really utilizing those community revitalization grant funds to be able to get the most out of our grant funding to be able to build that original concept. And then also, again, having that ability to be flexible and to expand in the future if future funds become available. One of the conversations that we had at the open house is regarding to the MSP wall demo. There was a change order that was approved by council at the last council meeting, I believe. And up on the screen, you'll see the demo plan outlined in red. So it's really that lower corner of the wall. Let's see if I can get this to work. Oh yeah. Okay, so there is a sally port that's right here. And then there's actually just chain link fence right here because the tornado went through in 2019 and actually blew its own hole in the wall. So some of the wall demo on this end of Chestnut is to accommodate Chestnut Street. If you have the opportunity to go down Chestnut Street and look at the One Health Lab, you can see like that site is way up. So we need to be able to raise Chestnut Street to a level that can access the One Health Lab and access the river market. And just by raising the street, the pressure of that would actually would tear down the wall anyway. So we're trying to take what wall we need. But one of the things that we are attempting to do is save Guard Tower 10 that's over here if we can. It's in really rough shape. I went into it not too long ago, last week. Really rough shape, but we would love to use that as a feature for a future trail system, but we'll try. It may not work out, but we'll see what we can do. The street sections can be seen on the screen. It's a very stereotypical two-way street with parking lanes on both sides. There's a 10-foot greenway that'll be where the wall used to be, and then also a sidewalk on the other side connecting the greenway system and also making sure that it's walkable from One Health Lab to the river market site. I'm going to actually go back just a little bit. Some of the things, I also want to keep you apprised of timelines. We are going to try to put this out for bid January, February, so it's extremely quick for the design work. Once we get some renderings and official design, I'll just kind of keep coming back to council and just this is the update, just so that way everybody's on the same page. This project is moving very quickly, but there's no reason why we can't continue to communicate the shifts and changes as this project progresses. Some of the things that we're looking for in the future and some of the things that we've shifted even since the last time I came and spoke with you is we're going to try to refocus the budget for the river market solely on the river market facility. We're gonna design the trails out, but we're not going to build them just yet for a couple of reasons. One is there's future funding that I can see available that we could utilize, and two is the timelines. We don't want to be trying to build trails when One Health Lab is still under construction. So in reality, trail build out would start happening in 2027. So that's just going to be kind of phase 3 of this overall project. But that does afford us the ability to bring partners to the table. One of the partners that we are currently engaged with is the Missouri Department of Conservation. They are helping us. If you'll remember, we did a whole lot of tree and scrub brush and vegetation removal. About 6 weeks later, it popped right back up. So we realized that we weren't probably doing it right. So we brought conservation to the table, and they informed us that we just were dealing with a particularly nasty form of invasive species. That invasive species will take about 2 years to fully remove it. They have provided the herbicide, and Parks Department went ahead and did its first spraying last Monday. And we'll do one more spraying before the end of the year. And then they'll come out next year and we'll keep hammering it, but it'll take about 2 years before we get it back to good, which will be about the same time that we're going to want to put in trails and native species. So we're trying to connect to the river. So we've got Missouri Department of Conservation that's at the table. The Department of Natural Resources with state parks. We're actually meeting with them later this week to talk about an outdoor recreation legacy program grant to pick up on some of those trail designs. And that's a big one. It's a $15 million grant. So being able to work with those folks to get that in. So again, all 2027, but it just, as we keep coming up with these changes and these shifts and looking ahead and trying to build this out to the greatest extent we can, that's what we'll do. One of the other things that's came up and actually came out of the open house was to turn our bathroom into a storm shelter. Okay, but that would about probably triple the cost of the bathroom in the original budget. So we're exploring actually other funding mechanisms, either hazard mitigation or CDBG mitigation funds that could fund a really nice bathroom / storm shelter. So that's really how we're approaching this project, from just a project management side, and also trying to bring additional dollars to the table just to keep that momentum going and keep leveraging the funds that we already have. And I was going to turn it over to Director Griffrath if he wants to talk about the parks perspective of the project.
Sure. Aaron Griffrath, Director of JC Parks. First and foremost, I certainly want to thank City Administrator for reaching out to me on this project and involving JC Parks, because this really fits what we're trying to accomplish within the community. We are receiving a lot of feedback from constituents and community members on this. They're very excited. I probably get a call a day on this project, whether it's from farmers market side or social events. And not only from the open house last week, staff were able to go down and really look at the site. And through those conversations, as parks, we're starting to identify what can we bring to the table to make this more than just a pavilion. And some of those things, we talk about social events, whether it's music and entertainment, family reunions, offering family reunion space, shower space, meeting space, corporate picnics, etc. Ms. Senzi talked about trail connectivity. Once we finish Boggs Creek Trail, which will connect East McCarty to Ellis Porter, and then this one gets completed, that's really going to open up the east side corridor to the downtown area and beyond. So that's super exciting for those that like to run, bike, and walk. Economic impact, statistics show that you build a park, it brings people in from outside of the area. This will be no exception to that rule, so we're excited to bring in guests and visitors to this area. And then finally, as Ms. Sensi said, the future of development for this area. When we talk about parks, park space, programming opportunities, and then a possible playground at some point. I think there's a lot of great things that we can do in this area. And once again, JC Parks is certainly honored to be a part of this process.
Be happy to answer any questions.
Councilman Spencer?
I know there's been discussion of a need of an all-inclusive park. Would this be an area that might be considered for that?
Yes, it will. It will be a site. We're kind of going through an RFQ process on finding a firm to determine where we're going to construct it and build it. But we will have them look at the site, and then upon approval from the city administrator, if that's the area that's identified as the best location, we will certainly look to put one there.
Councilwoman Joe?
Just want to say thank you for all the hard work, partnership with conservation. Super excited about that personally. But I know that this is moving really fast. Everyone's working really hard. Community feedback is excessively positive, so keep up the good work.
All right, thank you. Now we'll go to item 9. Councilman Allers, Admin Committee.
November 6th, 7:30 a.m., next administration meeting. Across the hall, Booth Baker.
Councilman Schwartz, Finance.
Scheduled for 11/21. I will be out of town, so I'm going to work with Ms. Perry to figure out if we should cancel or have my vice chair.
Councilman White.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think 2 weeks ago, I mentioned the wrong date for the Public Safety Committee meeting. It'll be this Thursday in conjunction with the Hyde Park Firehouse ribbon cutting. So it'll be just after that at 3:30 at Hyde Park.
Councilman Spencer.
Our next Public Works Planning meeting will be on November 14th at 7:30 here in the council chambers.
All right, any other announcements by council? All right, that does take us to item 9B, Hyde Park Burn Building ribbon cutting. Chief Scofield, welcome.
Thank you. Yes, we will be out at Hyde Park. It's 2304 Hyde Park. It's Thursday, the 24th, 2:30. We'll start the festivities there. We'll have a ribbon cutting, and then really the main reason we want to invite people to come out is to see the new burn building grill tower. So we'll have some demonstrations there for folks to get familiar with that that facility and its capabilities. Really appreciate county and city support to bring that. So I hope everybody can make it. As mentioned previously, following at 3:30, we'll have our public safety meeting out there on site. So looking forward to having everybody come that can make it. Any questions?
All right, thank you very much. NC Solid Waste Survey, Mr. Smith.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So just want to take the opportunity to highlight again that we do have a public survey out regarding the residential and commercial portions of our solid waste contract. So that contract is set to expire in June of 2026. It's kind of our first step in really the RFP for that process. And so we're looking to gather community input and feedback on the current service and any other future services you might be interested in, the citizens might be interested in seeing with the next contract that we'll be looking at probably in the next year and a half. So a link is on the agenda. You can also go to the city's website and there'll be a link there that you can take the survey, whether you're a residential customer or a commercial customer.
That will be open how long?
Until November 9th, I believe.
All right. Thanks. Any other announcements? Take us to item 10, consent agenda. You have 2 items before you. Anything coming off of consent? Thank you. Motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much. Bills introduced. 2024-045.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, amending Section 3.5 of the Flexible Benefit Plan for City Employees.
Ms. Perry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This bill would amend our flexible benefit plan or our cafeteria plan. Essentially, the city has in place a plan where if employees choose not to select city health insurance, that they receive currently a monthly contribution of $686 to utilize on a variety of other insurance type items. This bill would cut that contribution in half to $343 a month for them to purchase those additional insurance related items, and it would eliminate the benefit entirely for any new employees hired after December 31st of 2024. I don't know if the city administrator has any additional items he'd like to bring up about it. Again, this relates to those employees that are not selecting city health insurance. We did discuss this modification with McGriff, the new broker that we have. I do have Brian online from McGriff. He's here just to listen in case council has any questions that staff is unable to answer. And I would be happy to answer any questions.
Councilman Schwartz.
I would move to suspend the rule in order to take this up for a final vote tonight.
Second. Any opposition to that? All right.
Read the bill.
Councilman Neal.
I did have a quick question. That's okay.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and read it and get it on the table, and we'll come back to you.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, amending Section 3.5 of the Flexible Benefit Plan for City Employees.
All right, you have 2024-045 in front of you for action. Councilman Neal.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the new broker and staff and folks working together to find solutions. I sometimes get nervous about the reduction of benefits. But my question is open, like I know with this state, open enrollment is right now. Is that, well, can you tell me a little bit about the city's period of time, what it's called, which team members select, what insurance they'll have for the following year?
Sure, it would also be open enrollment. Typically, our open enrollment is mid-November, to the end of November. We are currently running a little behind on that because we have switched brokers and we're looking to make some additional modifications. But one of the reasons we're requesting that the rules be suspended this evening is for those staff who are on their spouse's health insurance, potentially with the state of Missouri. Missouri's open enrollment ends October 31st, so we need to have enough time frame for our staff to make the determination of which health insurance they're going to go with. And so that is the reason for the rule suspension this evening. But our open enrollment then will be hopefully, again, kind of maybe starting mid-November. We're still working through the logistics of that with the switch over to the new broker and in turn, the new services that we're using.
Is this kind of like the public notice tonight? Is this the first time a team member would hear about this item?
That is probably a true statement. Depending on what happens here tonight at council, I have our initial communication with staff for health insurance benefits, an email that will be sent out tomorrow based on council's decisions here tonight. And this would be something that is a change from prior benefit years. We have reviewed and we do recognize that this is a reduction. We also recognize that there are some IRS limits that will come into play here. So while it's a $343 per month decrease on those benefits they're able to select, the IRS limits are not necessarily as high. So for example, I think dependent care is one of them that we've used as an example.
So just for example, say federal limits on dependent care contributions are $5,000. If someone were to put aside the full 343, every single month for child care, that would still get them to over $4,100. So there's still a very large benefit that are available for the things that people think are.
Probably also important to note, this is a very unusual program. It's a very rich benefit. I have never worked for any other company, whether that's governmental or private, that offers a benefit like this. Typically, if an employee chooses not to select health insurance, then there is no expense to the company because they've chose to decline it. So this is very unusual. I think that city administrator, city attorney, and I, none of us have ever seen this offered anywhere but here.
And could you remind me when the benefit would be?
We found it on the books in 1994. There have been some variances or iteration changes. We found one for 2008, and I think there was something in between there. When it started in 94, it was a significantly smaller dollar amount, and I think also probably a significantly smaller pool of staff members.
All right, thank you.
Any other? Councilman Schwartz.
I move to approve, pass the bill, do pass.
Second. It's already on the table, but thank you, Councilman Lester.
So I'm for this. I recognize it's a reduction. I know we have limited resources and what we have. It's probably best to put them towards better salaries. But I am concerned about reduction of benefits. And I'm part of this, my understanding is that McGriff is going to look at our benefit package, our whole package, and I would think we're going to see something more comprehensive looking at this before next go round. I did talk with staff who was some time ago with the city administration, and the way they explained it was because this was different and richer, at least in the final stage of reviewing candidates, it was something that was, was presented to them as another advantage to coming with the city, even though the salary wasn't quite as good. But anyway, I'm for this, but I look forward to looking at our whole package in the future.
Councilman Spencer.
Yeah, as a former city employee for 25 years, when we're trying to be competitive with other agencies and other professions, whether it's be the public or private sector, if you have to reduce a benefit, at least it's something that no other competition has, but also that is an advantage as well. We're obviously tasked with a very big issue with our healthcare cost. And, this will probably be less of an impact on the majority of our staff versus something else that we would have to maybe look at. So I appreciate staff's willingness to look at things, these kinds of issues, and obviously the new broker services with McGriff. Appreciate their involvement and input as well. So I think this has been a well executed piece that we had to make a tough decision on. So thank you.
Councilman Schwartz.
Yeah, just to speak briefly on this, as the sponsor, I think we all need to be kind of honest with ourselves. I mean, basically what this is a loophole. We're not taking away any sort of health care from city employees. As a matter of fact, the city is one of the few places I'm familiar with in the state, to the best of my knowledge, doesn't even do this. That we don't charge a single dime for premium as long as you're a wellness program participant. So that is very, very good benefit for state employees. I don't think, and I could be corrected here, but I don't think we've ever advertised that you have the possible benefit of a free cafeteria plan or free child care plan or additional life insurance by not taking health care. I don't think we've ever advertised that. So I think this is something that will save the city around $800,000, which is a significant amount of money in the budget. I think we're facing the distinct possibility of decreasing revenues in the near future. And so, again, I renew my motion to pass.
Seeing no other comments, we'll do a roll call vote.
Hazelton,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Lester,
Aye.
Weichel,
Aye.
Mealy,
Aye.
Schwartz, Spencer,
Aye.
Spicer, Young, Allers.
Aye.
Bill passes.
All right, takes us to item 12A, bills pending 2024-043.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, amending the 2023-2024 budget of the City of Jefferson, Missouri by appropriating funds within the general fund.
Ms. Perry.
Thank you. This bill would authorize a budget amendment to the general fund, and it would recognize $250,587.13 of revenue that we received as tax liens on Capitol Avenue properties, and it would use those revenues to allow for the offset of costs associated with the acquisition and demos of the properties in the same area. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Seeing none, do a roll call vote.
Joe,
Aye.
Lester,
Aye.
Weichel,
Aye.
Mealy,
Aye.
Schwartz,
Aye.
Spencer,
Aye.
Spicer,
Aye.
Young,
Aye.
Allers,
Aye.
Hazelton.
Aye.
Bill passes.
All right, 2024-044 is already taken care of. Takes us to the informal calendar. Nothing on that. Takes us to item 14A, resolutions. Resolution 2024-26.
A resolution authorizing service providers for group health insurance and reinsurance.
Ms. Perry.
This resolution would authorize the service providers for group health insurance to be Anthem and for reinsurance to be Sun Life. I passed out a sheet before the meeting started that shows the 2025 funding rates that we intend to use. This is a 10% increase in the city health insurance cost, and that was built in to the 2025 budget that council approved. And then it also includes the reinsurance through Sun Life, and that reinsurance is at an increase of 12.3%, all of which was built into the budget that the council recently approved. And I would be happy to answer any questions.
Councilman Allers, would you like to get this on the table?
Yes, make a motion to answer.
Second. We've got a motion and a second. Seeing no comments, we'll take a roll call vote.
Lester? Aye. Michael?
Aye.
Mealy?
Aye.
Schwartz?
Aye.
Spencer?
Aye.
Spicer?
Aye.
Young? Aye. Allers?
Aye.
Hazelton? Joe?
Aye.
Resolution is adopted.
All right, takes us to resolution 2024-27.
A resolution authorizing the utilization of quantified specialty care to provide specific medical services.
Ms. Perry, keep you busy tonight.
Yes. This resolution would approve Quantify Specialty Care as the service provider for some of the high-cost drugs that are currently covered by our Anthem plan. This is a provider that was brought to us by McGriff as one of their suggested potential solutions for us to deal with some of the high-cost drugs that are on the market and that we currently are paying for from our self-funded health insurance. What is before you in your packet is a sample of a single case agreement, and that case agreement would be completed for all of the high-cost drugs that we're speaking about that McGriff has assisted us in identifying. And that agreement would be completed for each of those, and it would require any of our covered members to then work with Quantify for the coverage on those specialty drugs. And then those specialty drugs would be paid for at reduced cost for the drug themselves.
I would ask council's consideration and motion and offer a motion to approve.
Second. All right, you have resolution 2024-27 in front of you. Any other comments? All right, so roll call vote.
Michael?
Aye.
Mealy?
Aye.
Schwartz? Spencer?
Aye.
Spicer? Young?
Aye.
Allers?
Aye.
Hazelton?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Lester?
Aye.
Resolution is adopted.
All right, good. Item 15, approval of the closed session minutes in front of you for action. Approved.
Second.
Motion and a second. We'll do roll call vote.
Mealy?
Aye.
Schwartz? Spencer?
Aye.
Spicer? Young? Allers?
Aye.
Hazelton?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Lester?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Minutes
All
are
right.
approved.
No new business. Item 16, no unfinished business. We do have a closed session item, so we'll allow the clerk to read the statement, and then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn and go into closed.
The chair will entertain a motion to adjourn the public session and pursuant to section 16021 of the revised statutes of Missouri, going to closed session to discuss the following: attorney-client privilege, subsection 1, real estate, subsection 2, and negotiated contracts and sealed proposals, subsection 4.
Dr. Young, do you have a motion you'd like to make?
Mr. Mayor, I'll give a motion to adjourn this meeting and go into closed session.
Second.
All right. Motion for adjournment, closed session, we'll do a roll call vote.
Schwartz? Spencer? Spicer? Young? Allers? Hazelton? Joe? Lester? Michael? Mealy?